Hey everybody, it's Angela, and I am back to do a quick graphite drawing today. I have some Canson 140-pound watercolor paper that I'm going to use, and I'm going to trim that down to 12 by 12 because I do intend to use this for a scrapbook layout. And you can see here that that's the photo I'm going to scrapbook later, and it's me and my sister-in-law in the French Quarter with the St. Louis Cathedral behind us, but you can't see it very well. So that's why I want to go ahead and sketch the cathedral to give myself a sense of place and to bring out some details of where we were. So off camera, I do take a little bit of time to kind of very lightly sketch the cathedral, and you probably can't even see it here, it's so light. And I just wanted to get the placement right on the page so that it would work for my scrapbook layout later, and also to get the proportions right because this is a man-made structure and not like a tree where you have a little more flexibility in your proportions. So if you're brand new to sketching, you can print out what it is you're going to sketch, hold it up to a window or a lamp, or if you have a light box. With the 140-pound paper, you're not going to be able to see very much of the picture, but you'll see enough to put a few points in just to help you with your proportions and placement. And so that's always good if you're brand new to drawing. That'll give you a little bit of a help. And after you have kind of figured out your placement and proportions, you can come back in and start sketching in your darker lines and darkening things up and bringing out some of the details. And you can see there the pictures I have of the cathedral I had taken before I ever had a digital camera, so they're not very detailed. So I'm kind of having to come up with some of the details myself, and I did look online to see some other photos that other people had taken just to give me a sense of more of the different details that I couldn't see in my own photo. And so I'm just trying to bring some of those out, and I'm using a mechanical pencil here, and I just have like an HB lead in the pencil. I'll also be using a kneaded eraser and a paper tortillon, which is just a rolled up like a paper tube that you can use for blending your graphite, and you'll see that here in just a little bit. Right now I'm still going back through bringing out some of those details. You can see that the spires, all three spires on this church are kind of they're like hexagons. They have different planes to them. They're not just like circular round, they're more like hexagon round. So they have different planes that I'll need to bring out. And then they also have a lot of small pillars and other molding details that are pretty intricate. And I don't have a very good photo, and I'm not drawing this very huge, so I'm not going to bring out every single detail. Like those roofs are dark, so they're probably, I don't know if they're slate tiles that is roofed with, but because I'm so far away and I don't have a really detailed photograph, I am not going to try to worry about sketching on the slate tiles on the roof and things like that. I'm just going to shade them dark. I will try to bring out the different planes of the building and stuff like that where I can. But, you know, I'm not going to go overboard. This is a simple kind of raw sketch just to give a sense of place. So the building itself is quite symmetrical. So whatever I do on one side, I'm pretty much repeating on the other side. And also the heights, like that spire I took to a certain height and matched it to the spire next to it. And then I will put in a spire on the other side here, and I will kind of look at it and I will match up just to make sure that the same height. So you can kind of compare each side to itself to help you get those proportions and things right so that it looks right to the eye. Now on this, the windows you can see are some of the darker areas, and the bright sunlight reflecting off the facade is making the rest of the cathedral very white and really washed out. So I'm just going to be concentrating on the windows and the shading below the molding to bring out the details that I'm going to draw here. You can see I put that little, I don't know what that's called, over the window there, and what I did on one side I just repeated on the other. Is that a plinth? I'm not sure. I'm not sure of all my architectural names here. And again, I'm just kind of making some lines here on these spires to show the different planes of, I don't know if it's a hexagon or a six-sided turret or how many actual sides there are. It's probably 6 that go around. But I'm just bringing those different planes out because when I get to the shading, I'm going to treat them all a little bit differently to help, show those details. Now here are a few of the little tiny pillars that are on each side, and those I will bring out by shading in between them. And so the shading is what's going to bring out those different pillars. And on the bottom story, there's like a statue and different shrubbery and stuff that is obscuring the front facade a little bit, and so I'm kind of having to guess about what's down here. I can kind of see on one side or the other pieces of it, so whatever I see on one side I know to just repeat on the other. And so this may not be an exact replica of the church, so and I'm not going for that in this sketch, so just beware that this is not an exact replica of this cathedral. So here is my paper tortilla. It's just a little rolled up tube of paper, and it's brand new, so it didn't have any graphite on it. So I've just scribbled some off on a piece of paper to try to kind of start getting it loaded up with some graphite. And here I went ahead and I just kind of scribbled down a little bit more graphite right directly on my drawing, and then I'm going in with the blender and just moving that graphite around to give different values. And I want to bring out the small little roofs that are on each side of that cover each of the windows. There must be a window on each of those. That's maybe a 4-sided turret, I'm not sure. But it's one of the darker pieces on this building are the 3 roofs. So I want to make sure that those are, the darkest on my drawing as well and have the most graphite on them. And I will go back up and I will get that window there. I will make that darker. But in it, you can see there's like mullions or the little crossbars on the window, and some of them look like they have louvers. I'm too far away to really be able to tell, but I'm just kind of bringing out some different textures. I go in, I put in some more louver-like lines on there just to bring out some texture and, give that hint of detail. And as I'm drawing it, I'm kind of noticing more and more detail as I'm going along. And so, it's kind of fun. It kind of forces you to look at something a little more and really recognize it, really see it. So here I am, I'm putting in the clock that's on the front, and I go ahead and just put some dots for the numbers. It's an old church, so it probably has Roman numerals on there, but I'm too far away to see those, so I'm not going to worry about writing Roman numerals in there. I think this church I think there's been a church on this location since like the early 1700s, but it's been rebuilt a lot of times, so I think this particular church wasn't built until the 1800s, but I'm not positive on that. But it is like one of the older cathedrals, if not the oldest, in the United States. It's a beautiful building. We went inside. It was gorgeous. It was a beautiful day. It was kind of chilly for New Orleans because this was in March. We were there during the Mardi Gras time, or not Mardi Gras, the St. Patrick's Day time. So so it was still beautiful weather, and we got to see the cathedral, the French Quarter. They have a lot of beautiful architecture through their balconies, ironwork, beautiful fences. So if you like architecture, it is a gorgeous city to visit. It has some age to it. For the United States, we don't have, any cities with a lot of age like they do back in Europe or, throughout the Mediterranean. But so it's old for us. And we got to visit plantations, and it was a gorgeous trip, and I've scrapbooked a lot of it, but I have a lot of other stories to tell, and this is one of them, and some of them I just don't have photographs of. So, doing sketches on my layout's a wonderful way to bring out stories I might not otherwise tell. And it's also a very non-threatening place to practice drawing and to try new materials or techniques and things like that, because if you don't like it, you just don't have to use it. But most of the time, if you work and play around with the drawing long enough, it comes out. And so I do intend to put like some liquid media on this, some inks and sprays and stuff later when I do a scrapbook layout using this piece of paper. So if you're interested in scrapbooking, look for that in my playlist of process videos, scrapbooking process videos. But I did want to go ahead and separate this out. I'm going to separate my sketching videos and drawing and painting videos from my actual scrapbooking videos, because I know not everyone who comes to my channel is wanting to see the scrapbooking, and not everyone who's doing the scrapbooking wants to see the drawing. So I decided to just go ahead and start separating those out in different playlists on my channel. So as you can see, I'm going through, I'm adding some of my darker darks, and then just going in and shading, especially below all those different cornices and between those pillars, and just bringing out the different planes of those turrets. But I'm not, getting too detailed with it. This is a basic sketch. It's not meant to show every detail. It's meant to be a little bit looser and casual. And again, on this bottom story, I couldn't see much of it in my picture, so I'm just guessing on some of it and just bringing out some details, putting a little artistic liberty in there. Because like I said, I know I'm going to put some sprays, probably some purple, green, and gold on here to give that those New Orleans colors. And I'm just repeating again everything from one side, I'm repeating on the other side. So this is a great medium to start out with if you don't have a lot of money or to spend on like watercolors or pastel pencils or colored pencils. Just being able to take your mechanical pencil and an eraser and move some graphite around on a page is a perfect way to get started. And learn about drawing and get comfortable with it, and then you can branch out later. So this is pretty much all I'm going to do. Like I said, it was a very quick, I tried to keep it loose, and it's just going to help give a sense of place and, give a little special detail to my scrapbooking page, and it gave me some practice in drawing and was just enjoyable to do. So here's a close-up, just showing some of the different textures and things that I brought out. And if you're interested in seeing the scrapbook page that I do, please look at my playlist, or it should be probably the next video after this one. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or anything, just leave me a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!